Are we live? Yes, we are live. What's going on, people? And welcome to Man Knows Football. As you can see, I have a debutant on the channel that is Yan from the Football Therapy. And I was just saying to him that I'm absolutely honored to have him on. I've been watching Yan for years. So to actually have you on the channel and to have the interaction is a massive, massive thing for me. Thank you so much for joining in, Yan. Appreciate that. How are you doing, my friend?
Thanks for having me on, Guni. I'm doing well, mate. We're just chatting before we went live. It's warm. I'm feeling all right, man. I know we're going to get into the football and the shock reaction to not a great result in pre-season, but, you know, things are going well, man. I'm doing all right.
No, that's good. I mean, as long as you're not doing as bad as some of the Chelsea fans that I've been seeing on the timeline after the 4-0 loss to Arsenal, albeit being a pre-season game. I mean, I understand some of the frustration, but come on. I've seen, at the same time, you've seen it, and I've seen us lose every single preseason game and then go on to win a league. Not saying that's what we're going to do now.
Yeah.
But it just kind of highlights the point that, you know, preseason for me, I look to more to get the fitness levels up. And, but the concerns that I'm seeing is like, you know, some people wanted to see like better attacking phases, the structure looking a bit better, sort of like improvements to what we've seen from last season to the things that we've been complaining about. But what's your whole take on it?
Okay, well, yeah, look, bro. So the thing is with preseason, ideally you want to just win all your games and look good. Ultimately, even though they're mainly fitness exercises, they're games of football, and you know, winning's exciting, winning is sexy. That's what you want to do.
Yeah.
But this is what preseason is for as well, for showing you what you need to sort out before the season's even started. And this is, you know, it's like, you know, it's a use. We can utilize this and go, right, there's a problem, let's sort it out. And thank God we've got an opportunity to sort this out before the season starts. Like maybe you had some stinky 1-0 wins and some like weird peculiar games, and then the season starts where you need to be fit, and then this happens. That's a catastrophe.
Yeah.
You know, at least we got a couple of weeks before. And yeah, it's shit, man. Like, I don't know if we can swear on the channel.
No, of course you can.
Okay, yeah. It's shit. No, it is, bro. But like, it also, there is some mitigating circumstances. I understand why Tuchel is pissed off, because like he says he don't think he's ever lost 4-0 in a preseason game, and now he's managing Chelsea, who he's won the Champions League with. He's going to be vexed. But you know, like there is some mitigating circumstances in comparison to Arsenal. They're playing a team where they've had continuity, they've got their business done early, they're playing their preferred, you know, everything. Whereas perhaps we played a back four, a mixed team. There's been more travel, less preparation, more humid training, which is all fine, and that would make you look worse than the opponent. But it's still losing 4-0 to Arsenal, and hands in the air. I didn't wake up at 3 to watch the game. I've watched some highlights, I've seen some analysis, but you know, at the end of the day, like it's better this happens now than, you know, the opening day of the season. And we all know there's frailties. I'm sure we'll get into it, bro. Do you know what I mean? So
no, 100%. And I think another thing now, you know, we've also got to remember is that we have entered this period of preseason / transfer window in a situation, in very much a transitional situation, because look, it's far from ideal having Marina Granovskaya gone, and then your board members as well gone, and then expecting somebody like a Todd Bowley to come in, whose background is baseball, and I want to say American football too, but I'm not 100% on that.
Basketball, I think.
But that's the one. Yeah, that's the one. And then to expect for him to come in and facilitate these deals himself and just hit the ground running, there's a lot that I'm taking into consideration here. So I think some of the criticism that I'm seeing is quite harsh. Now I understand, you know, we'll promise 6 signings, 2 marquee signings, this, that, and the other. But again, it's the whole circumstance with Barcelona basically stalking Chelsea's transfer. All this, it doesn't make the situation easier. Well, go on.
Yeah, I was gonna say, on the stuff you were saying, like, you know, that will bleed, that will bear fruit. When I mean, like Todd Bowley and the board we had before, bro, it was Roman's mates. Do you know what I mean? Like we didn't have a board fit for purpose. Yes, they had their like promising elements about it, but we had an amazing like benefactor and Roman who loved Chelsea, who spent
Yeah.
like bare peas and we won and it was wicked or whatever. But he, if you look at the board, it was like at Tenenbaum, it was Bruce Buck, his lawyer. He's just getting all his mates that he just put on the board. What Todd Bowley and Clearlake have done, they've put Bowley and Egbali as representatives, but they've got fit for purpose people and represent. They've been like, this will be good long term. This will be in the interest long term. So that kind of stuff is good. We don't have to worry about that. The worrying is about right now. And there is actually really good feedback and reception from Bowley's negotiations. I think it was at Leeds, the representatives at Leeds, and at Manchester City. They say he was a no-nonsense guy. Marina Granovskaya, she was an excellent negotiator, and she was feared and annoyed, and people didn't like her but respected her. Bowley's come in and said right, no, bullshit, man. This is the situation, and everyone's responded well to that. We signed Raheem Sterling for a really good price for both parties. Ultimately, Koulibaly's good money. So we had 2 great signings for reasonable fees so far. And if it wasn't for the intrinsically linked Barcelona, we might have 2 more. Do you know what I mean? So that is the spanner in the works, man, so far.
So yeah, exactly, and you can't be too overcritical about these things. So especially when you take those things into consideration, quite rightly, like you said. Now, I just want to touch on yesterday's game a little bit. Just to look at, first of all, we're gonna just touch on the lineups because I actually tweeted something yesterday because it's actually true. I did quit smoking like 5 days ago. I no longer smoke no weed, so that's been a bit of a challenge. Yeah. So
yeah.
I looked at the starting 11, right? And I'm seeing Mendy, James, Chalobah, Thiago Silva, Emerson. So immediately a back 4. Then you've got Gallagher and Jorginho and Mount, midfield 3. Then you've got the front 3, Timo Werner, Havertz, and Sterling. I looked at that lineup. Then I looked at Arsenal's lineup. I said, number one, ours is a lot more experimental than Arsenal's. They look like they went out with a way stronger team, and because they've been killing it over the preseason. But we know it's not all about preseason, but they've had continuity.
Though. Ours doesn't sound awful hearing it there. It sounds kind of fit for purpose, like 2 attacking 8. Emerson playing as a left back, like all this kind of stuff. So it doesn't sound like an absolute catastrophe on paper.
Well, exactly. But then we still have to remember it's still somewhat experimental too, because
massively, yeah.
Even because I went back and watched the game this morning. Because my cravings and my tolerance have kind of gone down, so I feel a lot better. I can watch it and not lose my head. So I watched it and I'm seeing, but a lot of the game I'm seeing a 4-2-2-2, which is what we have seen before. And then, but I'm just thinking, but look, are we gonna really be seeing Emerson a lot this season as one of our key starters? No. Is Chalobah gonna be starting on the regular? No, not that I don't think. Listen, Chalobah, I like him. I still think he's got a lot to learn, and I think he done very, very well last season. Gallagher's just stepped into this fold and is getting into like the first team football. And from the looks of it, I think I'm not convinced Gallagher's going to be in a double pivot. Absolutely not. I don't see him consistently holding down that number 6 position because honestly, in my opinion, I think there are better options, i.e. Billy Gilmore, because that is naturally more suited to him. So it's going to be interesting to see how Gallagher's going to be used this season.
I think just quickly on that, if you don't mind me jumping in, bro. I feel like Gallagher's a really useful asset, and this is something that I've maintained for a little while now. I think what probably happened is Tuchel loves the tenacity and that high octane play of Conor Gallagher, and how that's really useful in the Prem. I reckon he's got in his ear and says, "Mate, you're going to play a lot, but there's 5 subs and you're going to be a weapon off the bench."
Yeah.
Like 60 minutes, you're going to play it almost every match day. He's probably said to him, like, "You're my guy when they're tired and I need someone to chase the ball, like explosive, energy and, tenacity. You're the guy." He's like a weapon off the bench. He's a little bit like Kante, but a little less measured and probably not as good. But he'll look at this like young gun that's going to run around and hassle, and and he'll probably said that to him. Not necessarily you're a starting player. Kovacic has got to be a starting midfield player
100%.
For me. He's probably our best midfielder on form at the moment. And we know what Tuchel thinks of Kante and stuff. Like he probably would want a double 6 of Kovacic and Kante if fit. But we've heard Tuchel recently not whinge, but highlight the fact how he wants Kante to be fit a lot more, which would insinuate he wants to play him a lot more. So that's my presumption on midfield too. I think anyway.
I mean, with that, I'm just concerned because I'm a very strong believer that we actually need a natural DM, and I know this has become a very generic and a conversation that's had amongst a lot of the Chelsea community. I still feel that is key for several reasons, because I don't think we've got a midfielder outside of Kovacic, but I think still there's a lot more he needs to do that is press resistant enough that I can trust with the ball at his feet in front of the defense and not lose it on a consistent basis. I think we need that massively, and that will also, I think, help bridge that gap between the attack and the midfield itself, because I see sometimes there's a huge disconnect there in terms of us creating chances. And, something needs to be done. And what I mean by that is, and why I think that affects us so much, is because when we don't have somebody who's screening that defense, you saw in the Premier League against Arsenal how many times we was opened up in that middle. So many times the ball's just going think through our defense. No offense to Jorginho, because I don't like to slay the guy, because if you're not a fast dude and you're not physical, that's not your fault. Your aspects, your strengths are somewhere else. But you're playing in the Premier League now. So to have him there is very, very risky, and it doesn't work. And then there's also the N'Golo Kante situation, where people want to see N'Golo Kante deep. But when you see N'Golo Kante naturally, he nine times out of 10 is the furthest pushing forward midfielder in the whole team. So I don't see how you can use him as a DM. So it don't work. So what I'm saying is, I think we definitely need that DM that can sit there, that can marshal that midfield, that can allow your whoever it is in front of him, your Mason Mount, your Conor Gallagher, whoever it is, to go forward and have their license to do what they're doing.
Yeah, it's essentially like Kante is a box-to-box interceptor. Kovacic is like a ball progressor, dribbler. And then you got Jorginho, who's the regista. He's a metronomic. Yeah. He's a metronomic player in possession, but because we leave ourselves vulnerable. You need, like you say, someone to screen the back for, kind of just like like an old school destroyer, but that's gonna sit and be like, none shall pass. And if you do, I'm gonna cover the spaces and be almost like a kind of like centre back quality. That's all good, man. Yeah, like a kind of like the little man knocking.
That's my daughter.
Your daughter. I didn't see.
My little man is in a room playing his Nintendo Switch.
Yeah. Well, maybe you should get a take on the CDM. But like a sort of we haven't when we won the Premier League we had a Mikel or a Matic, or do you know what I mean? I know it's like you say, it's a bit of a basic take, but someone that says, look, if your eights, your ball progressors, your wingers, your wing backs, your striker, if they've messed up and the ball's transitioned back, you need someone that feels like, yep, you got to still get past me, mate, before you get to the defense. And like you say, we don't really have a player like that at the moment.
No, we don't. And with John Obi Mikel, anytime you saw this geezer on the touchline back then, it was like, yep, we're definitely not conceding. Just not conceding.
Yeah.
And we don't have, and we don't have that anymore. But I want to move on to Thomas Tuchel's comments, because they were quite what's that word? Scathing. That's the one.
Scathing, yeah. He was scathing. He was scathing, yeah.
He basically said, well, we're getting the same results because we've got the same players.
Yeah.
I want to start off with that comment, first of all. Do you think that's more of a shot to the players or to the board?
Or, yeah, it's got to be. I don't think it's even pointed. It's not at the players, but I think it's at everyone else. So it's not just the board. I think it's to the media. Like, don't come at me. This is the situation with these players. I'm not condoning that. I'm not saying that's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. But I don't think he's doing it to the players, because I I think I don't think he wants to say to them, "You're not scoring goals, you're not good." I think he's frustrated with them, but I don't think he's putting out the players. Again, I'm not condoning. I think he's just saying that to be like, "Look, I." I'm not saying I'm a good coach. Look, I've worked with these players for long. We've done all we could, but he's been to every final except the Champions League last season, and that we had an amazing performance. So I think he knows he's respected in the game, and he's not egotistical. I loved his recent comments to BBC when they said, "Do you want to be a dynasty or a legacy manager like Klopp at Liverpool or Pep at Man City?" And what Tuchel said, he went, "Yes, but I have to earn it. I have to earn my time." Which is like he's really clever and he's really diplomatic, and I like how he's emotional. People are like, reacting negatively, like, "Well, you're the coach, you sort this out." But I'd much prefer him getting pissed off and emotional rather than think of like some of the sort of like agnostic, apathetic coaches in the past. Like, you start thinking like picking up a paycheck, don't try and piss anyone off in the media. No, he wants to win. He wants to keep his job. He wants to be emotional. Do you know what I mean? So I'm all for that, man. Do you know what I mean?
I think we've since the changeover of the ownership, or when there was concrete information that everybody knew that it was going to happen. Me personally, I saw a change in Tuchel's character in the terms of like he was a lot more outspoken. Because I think under Roman and Marina and that, he was walking on eggshells a little bit, because I'm of the opinion, this is not fact, but I'm of the opinion that if Roman was still here, one, we wouldn't have sold Lukaku. And two,
Marina, definitely.
And two, by not selling Lukaku, that's going to put pressure on Thomas Tuchel to make sure that he's getting his money's worth. I think Roman's getting the money's worth from Lukaku. So that would mean potentially he would lose his job either at some point in the season if he's not performing, or by the end of the season, which is something I'm sure not many of the fans would want. I certainly didn't want that. So, I mean, I'm not saying Roman, the best thing for him to do was to leave the club. Absolutely not, especially the circumstances of how it happened. But I can understand why this was needed. And I don't want people to get confused and say, "Oh, you want Roman now?" No, it's not that. It's just that I did feel like a transition and change was needed.
No, I agree. The thing is, people need to remember that this wasn't Roman had, for one reason or another, which we probably shouldn't get into today because it would just be a long tangent. Roman was drifting away from Chelsea ever since he had to withdraw his visa application. Since he wasn't really around. He never did interviews, but he was always at Stamford Bridge. Which means he'd always have a word with the manager. That had gone. That didn't exist anymore. There was a disconnect. There was the superpowers of Liverpool and Man City that have now risen, and there's a correlation between the two. There's a long-term formulaic backing of the manager. There's several journalists have covered the fact how like 98 or 99% of both squads are represented by that manager's purchase. We've still got players from 5 different managers.
Yeah,
your new ownership's going to come in and see that. So this kind of change, and like yes, I said at the top of the show, man, the board is now built for purpose, fit for purpose, and it's no longer like Roman's rich mates and just all hanging out. It's like, right, we're back. We need to try and win again. What are these guys doing? Let's do that. We wouldn't have done that under the previous ownership. Hopefully it will work. It's early days, but yeah, it's we'll have to see, man.
I think there's still a lot to do. I mean, obviously, we are looking at the whole director of football thing, heavily linked with Michael Edwards and Paul Mitchell. I won't get him confused with Phil Mitchell like I did on Back Again. They never let me hit it. Bro, I was just going off. I was talking, and then I was like, yeah, we're looking at Michael Edwards and we're looking at Phil Mitchell. And I was like, Phil Mitchell, oh my God.
They pick you up on that. Yeah. That's cool.
So they don't let me live on that one. So
that's fun.
So in terms of long term, I'm not too concerned. And in terms of what's going on short term, with all things considered, I think, again, going back to the lack of experience that Bowley has in the game, I think he's done well so far to get signings like Sterling and Koulibaly over the line. Those are huge, massive signings. So there's that. But I want to ask you, in terms of, I mean, I know it's only one game, and again, it's preseason, but from what you saw yesterday, right? Is there, outside of the DM, is there a glaring position that you feel needs to be addressed? And who would you think would be the right profile of player to kind of remedy that?
Well, do you mean what do you mean for leaking goals or making goals?
Both. If you want to do for both, that's cool.
The thing is, we know with the current profile of players and even like indeed replacements for the centre backs, if coached properly with the right intention, we have players to perform like that team that doesn't give up chances. Like, remember the early doors of Thomas Tuchel, we didn't concede a goal from open play for like ever for his first run,
Yeah.
and the beginning of last season as well, and we were giving up like 0.5 xg per game or something like that. It was an amazing, weren't scoring a lot of goals, but you just pointless trying to score against us, and we haven't seen that for a while. That Tuchel has the ability to coach that mechanically, but yeah, we haven't got any magic, bro. That's the problem. And this is why I won't. There's so many talking points to get into here because we've got such an array of talent now. People don't like to hear that when I talk about it. Everyone just wants to slate each player that we've got, but they're actually really good at what they do and they cost a lot of money. And like for example, Hakim Ziyech, he's a really good player, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying I want Ziyech to stay. I've got no tears from him whatsoever. I quite like the guy. I quite like his swagger. I like his audacity. He thinks he's sort of hot shit, and I think I like that at Chelsea.
Yeah.
This like Ajax team that was pulled apart. Think of like Frankie de Jong going for like how many 80 million or whatever he is now. The amount of money De Ligt's just gone for, Van der Beek and all these players. The best was Hakim Ziyech. I know he was older, so we went for a lot cheaper. We got him for like 35 million. But he won like Ajax Player of the Year 3 years on the bounce with all those, lads in. He's got an amazing wand of a left boot. He's got like creativity. But systemically, he doesn't work in this team the way we want to play. So we need that magic from maybe a more conventional number 10 style. I don't know what it would be, but like, Kai Havertz. Like I was chatting to Nini about this. Kai Havertz is such unique talent, and at the moment, we're just trying to use him as a striker in a system with not that much chemistry and continuity at the moment. A lot of talent's being wasted. Kai Havertz is probably one of the biggest examples of that. Wanted by every team in the world, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich. They all wanted this guy. The way it was such a good signing for Chelsea. It was like an Eden Hazard level signing. He's just sort of fizzled a little bit because he hasn't racked up numbers playing as a striker, centre forward. I don't want to just. I'm not coming at Tuchel saying that we've got all these because he's also a victim of circumstance as the coach of all these like wicked talents put together. You've got two like left-hand side runners in Pulisic and Werner that want to run him behind and exploit space, or Pulisic maybe a little bit more of a poacher. You've got Hakim Ziyech to sort of give me the keys to run the whole game in a 4-1-4-1, let me everything go through me. You got Kai Havertz, who's a bit more of he should be a little bit more deeper, a little bit mercurial, glide around. What else you got? Hudson-Odoi is probably the most conventional winger we got. Run down the touchline, chalk on your boots, dribble at the opponent, sort of thing. They're all different, and we're not playing to an attacking system that goes right, and then get it to the conventional wingers who dribble and cut in for the runners in midfield. Bang, 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 bang. Man City, cutback, Sterling, fucking 30 goals a season, which is like all these random guys that have different traits, and everyone's slating them because they think they're shit players, but they're not. They're all really good players, and it just doesn't. We need to build an attacking ethos / philosophy, but it's unfair to blame all the players. They've almost become used to the dysfunction. Do you know what I mean? They're like, well, we're just used to this, and just I know I'm rambling here, bro, but just finally, like the attacking players at Man City, I think Sterling's probably quite excited to play for Chelsea because it's so autonomous at City that Jack Grealish did it in his interview at the end of the season. He's scared to lose the ball under Guardiola, and you've got to pass. You can't. He was amazing at Villa because he had the keys: dribble, express yourself, score goals, assist. He's been sort of quite crap so far because it's all autonomy and he's not allowed to do his thing. But the autonomy works and scores goals. So we either need like an Eden Hazard, like have some magic, just take responsibility and do your thing, or we need the Pep Guardiola autonomy of just stand here, stand. We had that with Conte. It's all
Yeah.
it's all when you've got the ball, you've got two options. It takes the responsibility off the players essentially. And the players don't like it; they get bored of it, but it's what works.
No, I agree, and it's a case where sometimes Tuchel does have to look at himself, because I do feel sometimes his tactics can handicap some of the players, but then it's a situation where I want to go back to what you were saying. A very good point that you made was when you've got a cocktail of players from 5 or 6 different managers, somebody is going to suffer. That's just how it goes, because they're all coming from different philosophies and different backgrounds and different styles of football. Yeah. This is why it's important, right? If you've got a manager, you have to sort of, if you're going to lose this manager, the next manager that you get has to somehow, sort of have a similar kind of philosophy to what the other one did have. So the transition for the players that he might not have worked with might still be able to work on to the next one, which is something that Manchester City have, because now they're in a situation, for example, if Pep says, all right, I'm done for the end of the season, I'm going to go back to Barcelona. Let's say Xavi wants to do something else, which I doubt he would. I'm going to go back to Barcelona and try and do the mad thing over there again. A man like, I don't know, a Nagelsmann or somebody of that kind of ilk can come into that team. And there's not a lot of transition that needs to be done, because the styles there are similar. And on top of that, you've recruited for one specific way of playing football. So I think definitely that is a massive handicap for Thomas Tuchel. But
just on that quickly, because you make a good point there, bro, about and it's also they're playing at 4-3-3. Like he's playing at Klopp's 4-3-3 is a little bit more transitional and like risk taking.
Yeah.
But with Pep Guardiola's 4-3-3, like you say, like a Nagelsmann or a Ten Hag, if they come in, they'll be able to work with this. Tuchel got dropped in to Chelsea, and the only reason he played a 3-3-4-3. The only reason he played a 3-4-3 is because he's like, I've got wing backs, I've got right centre backs, I need to protect Thiago Silva, I need to protect Jorginho, I'm going to do that. But that was all like sort of circumstantial. It wasn't like there's a philosophy here. Do you know what I mean? It was like circumstantial. So it's kind of the opposite of what you're saying in terms of like, you can drop this coach in and he can work with this. Tuchel had to be like, oh, I can't really work with this. I'll just make these guys play in this system. We won't give up chances. And like, if Tuchel was to leave now, and someone came in, they'd be like, what the fuck do I do here?
What do I do here? Exactly.
I'd have to start again. I'd have to literally start again. So in a way, Tuchel has to start again, I think. And I understand why he doesn't want to, because he's like, we've won the Champions League. We've got to all these finals. But like, maybe he does just need to say, right, same ethos in working hard, covering spaces. We know how we want to work and cover each other, but we got to start again, bro. Like,
No, 100%. We've definitely got to go back to that drawing board, and that's not easy for any manager. So to really highlight what he did in terms of coming in and winning the Champions League as soon as he did is nothing short of amazing.
Yeah.
And, so I feel he deserved the chance. 100%.
He was probably obligated to carry on with this thing, with like, oh, I should probably, because rather than like maybe his gut is saying there's problems here, I got to change or something.
And then when you look at what he was awarded with after winning the Champions League, it's just like Di Matteo. How do you, after you've won the biggest prize that Roman Abramovich had been asking for the longest, you then say, okay, cool. Here's Lukaku, and here's Saul.
Yeah, the thing is, okay, so I get it, but the thing is, Saul, he wanted Saul, he wanted him for a while. He wanted him at PSG. So like, there are people.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so there's this thing where there's people like use that. Lukaku, he didn't want Lukaku. He was offered Lukaku. He says, we could probably get you Lukaku as a striker. And he went, all right, this guy's just scored a lot of goals. Why not? And then he was involved in the signing of Lukaku. As managers often are, he got on the phone and says, come play for me, bruv. We've just won the Champions League. It'll be wicked. All right, cheers, Thomas, for calling him. Done. But there's two players that Thomas Tuchel has said at Chelsea he's wanted before and he's been fighting for them before. One was N'Golo Kante and one was Saul Niguez. So like he said they're the two players he's tried to sign, probably both for PSG essentially. So yeah. So he's a player that he wanted. He obviously saw him in the Premier. The thing is with Saul, he was. He's mustard, mate. A few years ago, he was really good.
He was one of the best midfielders in Europe. He scored some goals for Atletico against big teams as well.
And he was really tenacious and good on the ball. But the thing is, he dropped form in La Liga, and you don't come to regain your form in the Premier League if you're out of form in the La Liga. And that was it, man. And he just had a baptism of fire that first game. He had a couple of good moments. I think he had a nice time in London with his missus. But yeah, and then Tuchel was like, "All right, you live in there, let's move on." Do you know what I mean?
That's it. Unfortunately, the number one target I wanted ended up going to Real Madrid, but it is what it is. I'm not going to cry over spilt milk. And there will be other players that will develop. Some starlets will be coming from under the rough, diamonds in the rough. We can find them, I'm pretty sure. And I do trust the ownership. We'll go into the backroom stuff and shake up our scouts too, because no disrespect, Scott McLachlan and who else is over there? Is it? No, Hilario's a goalkeeping coach. Who was the other one? Ross Turnbull and these guys, you guys got to go. And I'm pretty sure if Paul Mitchell or somebody comes in, they're gonna address that. In my opinion,
big up Phil Mitchell as well.
You lot are not gonna let me live. I swear down. You lot will never forget that one. But it was a moment.
It was funny. It's about.
But I'm going to go through the super chats real quick because I know we've only got 10 minutes left. I don't really want to keep you for too long. I know you're busy. Kimani, I think that's how he's, or Kai Money, Carmichael. If you do have something that you want to say, please put it in the chat now because I assume that you did that by mistake. But thank you very much for the super chat. If I see another comment from you, I'll definitely read that. Adam Stokes, thank you for the super chat. If Kounde joins Barca, are you worried? That's actually going to be the next topic before Yan leaves. And I'm pretty sure after the video that I put up, you lot are going to want to hear what I've got to say. But Guni, I take my L's, I hold my L's. I do not run from my L's. But it's not an L yet. Let's remember. Yeah, it's not an L until it's an L, people. But C1, big up yourself. Thank you for the super chat. If we miss out on top 4, I'm afraid it will be the start of our descent back to the pre-Roman era. Whoa. Also, are there any hidden gems out there? Maybe, you're talking about Fiorentina Wirtz, the guy from, is it Leverkusen? I think Wirtz plays for Leverkusen. He's like 19 or 20. He's a proper talent. I'm not going to lie. He's a good talent. I think it is Leverkusen.
Yeah, Florian Wirtz, yeah.
Yeah, that's the one.
19, German player, plays for Leverkusen. Good knowledge.
But then again, we're complaining about Kai Havertz. Some of the fan base, and now we want to sign. We're talking about Wirtz. We're gonna have the same situation.
You want midfielders, Liga midfielders are underrated. Like Joe Tweedy will tell you that. Like when you look at Camavinga and Chouameni, they produce so many good. N'Golo Kante from Ligue 2. Do you know what I mean? Like they're really really good. And yes, Liga is like not that competitive. But I tell you what, it's pretty physical. It's really underrated how physical that league is.
Yeah.
And if you get a midfielder, and some of the defenders as well, like Wesley Fofana, he must have come from Liga, I think, as well. You know what I mean? So that is the French league for midfielders. Is definitely something. I'm a bit more. Yeah, the Bundesliga. I'm a bit. I don't know, it's so transitional and stuff. I think if you really want to have a proper hold the midfield, I think Liga and French football is probably better for that. But yeah, T1, bro. I think it's a little bit sensational. I don't think we're going to go back to the pre-Roman era. I think with the sort of obligation of investment and the look of what they want to do in terms of the new board and stuff, we were in regression in the league since we've won the league. If you look at the stats, the points total, how much we've been off the top since we won under Conte, it's profound. Like it's consistently profound. Mm-hmm. Like, so far off. We're like average 20 points off the top, and that's the pre-Roman era, bro. We were a top 4 team before Roman Abramovich came along in the late 90s. We were, winning FA Cups, getting top 4, getting Champions League football, probably sometimes not even 20 points off the top. Yet we have been averaging that since we won the league. So we were in regression. This is an attempt with the new structure to actually reverse that. So,
no, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. But I think, again, in terms of long-term planning, I'm not worried at all. because what I've seen in the short term, I can see an owner that really, really cares about the fans.
Yeah.
Like he said he would, and he's got
on the board. Barbara Sharon and Finkelstein on the board, two Chelsea fans. Yeah,
there you go, perfect. And Todd Bowley has got a very, very good rapport with the LA Dodgers fans. That much I know. I'm over here in New York City, so there are people from LA that live here, and they say, "Listen, he's a brilliant owner, and you're lucky to have him." But I know time is short with you, and I need to discuss the Joules Kounde situation.
Yeah, do it, man.
I did put out a video. I kind of went in on Gerard Romero and the managing Barca account. Yeah, they've been talking too much. They were getting on Gooni's nerves while I'm trying to quit smoking, man. Yeah.
Just for context, we spoke about this before we went live. I was like, I watched Gooni's latest video, and I was watching him go in on this on this Kounde situation. I was like, oh, the opening 10 seconds, and by like 30 seconds in, I was like, oh, he's not stopped. He's still going. He's still going in on him. But it's not done yet. It's not done yet. I saw that question that you put up, like, if he goes to Barca, what do we think or whatever. Before we get into this, like, I just want to preface, and this is something I've maintained on my channel. I just want to say, like, yeah, like, it will be shit and all that. But the thing is, all these players, right? Like, these players that went to Barcelona, like, all these players that these two players that, or let's say three, Rafinha, Dembele, and Kounde. Let's say they do go to Barcelona. I never wanted Rafinha. It sucks when you lose out, but like, I was like, yeah, he's a good player. Sounds like a lot of money for a team that, a talismanic guy who nearly got relegated. And I'm not sure what he's going to do exactly in this Chelsea team, but fair enough. But I didn't finish last season and went, God, I wish Rafinha played for Chelsea. That's just one. Do you know what I mean? And Ousmane Dembele, it's a sexy signing, but it's hella risky. That's why it's a sexy signing. His injuries, will he do in the Prem? Will he actually, he's going to want higher wages? There's so many, and there's professionalism problems historically about playing games and not saying. So it's loads of risks on paper. So when you think about, and again, it wasn't like, oh, Chelsea need to sign Ousmane Dembele. And it's the same with Kounde. Yeah, he looks like a good centre-back, and if he's a target, great. But it's not like I dream. If I said to you, Guni, at the end of the season, or any last few years, you could sign a centre-back for Chelsea, Koulibaly or Kounde, you'd be like,
taking Kounde.
Every day.
You'd have to take it.
We've signed, in terms of the two signings we've got in Raz and Koulibaly, like, they are levels, but they are the two. We've got those. They're above the rest, and we've got them locked down with the intention. So I get it. It's peak because, like I say, they're intrinsically linked, and that's what's pissing people off. It's the drama of it. It's the Gerard Romero, whatever his name is. It's the banter. It's the Twitter. That's what's getting people angry. But in terms of the player itself, it's not like a travesty. He'll be a good player, but like, he'll probably be good for Barcelona. Christensen's probably going to be amazing for Barcelona. He'll be better in La Liga than he'll be better in the Premier League. Naturally. And it suits him. It suits his ball playing, and it suits the team. It suits his ball playing, and he was literally like, shitting himself before games every and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? So it'll be good if we get him. He seems like a natural replacement for Azpilicueta, right centre back, right wing back cover. But my heart won't bleed for it. Do you know what I mean? If he goes to Barcelona.
And do you know what I was gonna say? Do you see the only reason why I would bleed? Because admittedly, I'd be in the mud. I'd be in the mud after that video, but I'm willing to accept.
Bro, mate, like, it comes, Goonie, bro. I was scrolling through my Instagram, right? Like, these edits I put in my comments. I was like, oh, look, there's a few of Erling Haaland in the Chelsea kit. There's me absolutely loving up Romelu Lukaku, gonna change the fucking game. He's gonna tell me, oh, look, there's Levin. Do you know what I mean? This is just what we do as content creators. So
it's part and parcel. Yeah, it happens. It happens.
Happens.
So look, I mean, in terms of hold on 1 second. That's my homie Roma in the chat. Hey, Romes, this brother. I love you to bits, cuz. But how do you not know how to super chat by now? My brother Romes, I love you.
He's smart, bro. He's like, oh yeah, it's not working.
Yeah, I love yeah, there you go, Rose. If you want to hit that super chat, that's my brother for real, though. I love him to bits. But no, as I was saying, look, right now in terms of the footballing side, banter to one side, yeah. I like Kounde. I think he's one of the best in terms of his age group. Certainly, I'm not gonna backtrack from that whether he signs for Barcelona or not.
Yeah.
However, we are in a situation where assuming we're going to go with the back five next season or back three, whatever you want to call it, we are in a unique situation where Koulibaly is called ambipedal, which means he's comfortable on either foot, left or right foot. Also has the mindset to be able to play on either side. Even I personally think even central, but I think he'll be better on either side of the central defender. So we can, if we don't get Kounde, we can say, all right, cool. Koulibaly can go on his natural right side. Now we can look at that left-footed centre back, whether it be Kimpembe. My absolute two dreams, but obviously price and desire might not make it happen. So in terms of price, Gvardiol is going to cost about 80 mil. I heard that's a lot of money to be spending on a centre back. But do I believe in his talent to reach that elite level? Personally, I do, because not just because of what I've seen in the Bundesliga, but what he's also done for national team as well. I think he's done very well, and I think he's mature beyond his years. I think he could be a very, very good centre back for whatever team he signs for.
Yeah.
The dream centre back for me, and I've said it several times, I love this guy, is Bastoni. Bastoni for me, I absolutely love him. Naturally left-footed. I think he's a brilliant one-on-one defender. I think he's got the ability to hit that elite ceiling. And then on top of that as well, have you seen this guy play left back or left wing back? It's almost as if he's natural playing there. Now, I'm going to give you two games to watch. Watch both Inter games when they played Manchester. No, not Manchester City. When they both played Liverpool. When they played Liverpool, and watch Bastoni. They should probably be highlights on YouTube.
Well, he's playing left back.
Yeah, my goodness me. Very, very versatile player. I'm a big fan of his. Apparently, Inter need to sell. Up until recently, I heard it was going to be Skriniar going to PSG. Not too sure what happened there.
We tried to talk about Bastoni in a Lukaku sale back to them in like a player plus cash, but they didn't want to do that. They're just trying to maximize P's basically. But yeah, Skriniar and Bastoni were apparently discussed in a Lukaku transaction, but it didn't pop off. You know, Presnel Kimpembe is apparently a big target because he's worked with Tuchel, but he worries me for a bunch of reasons. I do I always really got annoyed by Kimpembe. I think he's like a little bit of a shithouse, and in a way, and when you feel like that about a player, it usually means you'd like them in your team. But apparently he's got a big, mistake in him. I say football expert, but French journalist Philippe Auclair, who follows French football he says, I heard him say in a podcast he thinks Tyrone Mings is a better defender than Presnel Kimpembe. So when I heard that, I was like, ooh, and now I'm hearing Chelsea, they're just about selling him if Chelsea pay £60 million. If we do get him, it will be another one of those this is on Tuchel now, because that is an ultimate Thomas Tuchel target, to use that alliteration. And he's obviously saying you've got no excuses with Kimpembe. You've coached him before, and if you want him and they spend that peas on him, it's on you now, big man. Do you know what I mean? You got to make that work.
You have to make that work, because we're not going to try and hear now. 60 M's for that is a lot of money. I think, Dexter, I've answered that question. I might let Yan answer. Only a couple questions left, because I think in about 3 minutes we are going to go. Make sure you do smash the like button, by the way. Subscribe to the channel if you are new, and leave your thoughts in the comments after the video if you are watching after the fact, and big up everybody that is in the chat. But do you mind giving this question an answer?
Let's do it. Who do you prefer to Kounde? Other positions, targets? With centre-backs, if it's a right centre-back, like you say, you could put Koulibaly there and look for a left centre-back, or you could keep Koulibaly as the sort of natural Antonio Rudiger replacement in terms of his ball carrying, because he likes to advance up the pitch as well. Right centre back's tricky. I know there's a few men have said this, but I would absolutely love Wesley Fofana from Leicester, and he would be really risk free, and he'd be like Ben Chilwell. He'd be like N'Golo Kante. He wouldn't be like Danny Drinkwater in terms of our acquisitions from Leicester. I think Wesley Fofana, he's built different, man. He's absolutely, and he just oozes Chelsea. If we could get him for 50 million, if we could get him to say, I'd like to go to Chelsea, we can get him for £50 million, I would absolutely take Wesley Fofana from Leicester. And other positions as well. I'm with the CDM shout, especially if we are going to consider changing formations. I think that's a must. And yeah, another attacker, like, whether it's a finisher or a creator, get a couple out. We've got Raz in, get one more in. Do you know what I mean? And again, that's not really for me to say. That's like, I don't know. The question is, what you guys say? But that's Tuchel, right? I've sat you on a chair, Tuchel. You've seen these guys kick footballs in the final third. You choose. You wanted Raheem Sterling. He's your top target. You're gassed. You got him. So am I. Now you choose another. This is on you, big man. Who do you want? You've seen what they do when they're in the final third. You see where they kick it. What's going to make it better? You choose. None of this. Like, I get all this stuff you're saying recently, and that's totally fine. So it's on you. Who do you want? And that's what I'd say. Do you know what I mean? Like, because I could choose a player, but
exactly.
If Tuchel wants, like, I want this geezer. He's going to do this.
Anything that we say is all fantasy football, really and truly. This is why I always say, like, I always differentiate. Like, there's my opinion, and then there's what I realistically think could happen within Tuchel and Chelsea Football Club. I always start by differentiating the two. Now, if it was just before we leave, I'll just give you some names that I would love to see. Again, this is more some fantasy football stuff. As of now, I would definitely like to see a young goalkeeper come in to back up Edouard Mendy, not back up Edouard Mendy. At least we can send him out alone, get experience. But for when he's ready to move on, we can bring one in. Slonina's one. Yeah. I would also say Martin van der Voort as well. Not many people have heard of him. Plays in the Belgian league. He's a big talent. I keep an eye out for him. Those are the two that I would like to think about. As well on that left wing back side, I wouldn't mind seeing. Again, players that people might not know, and Owen Windal as well. He's over there in the Eredivisie, plays for PSV, but I think he's about to move. I think he's about to make a move. Someone's about to snatch him up. That's a player for the future to watch. But one that we do know and might not go to Manchester City apparently is Cucurella. I would love to see him.
Yeah, he's mustard. Yeah, he's really good.
It would be a lot of money. Then it would also throw out questions as to, well, what's going to happen with Chilwell, because, he's good enough to start there. My opinion is if you feel you're good enough, that competition should push you through with the one
100%. Yeah, 100%. And if we're gonna stay with the system with the wing backs where James and Chilwell were everything, like, why not have this guy that's pushing on Chilwell to be better, and then like I said, 5 subs, 4 competitions, 5 subs, all that stuff. Chilwell would be like he fought with Marcus Alonso, fight with Cucurella. The quality's have just gone up, big man. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I've got no problem with that.
100%. Yeah, so there's that. Then midfield as well. Now, everybody knows I'd love to see Declan Rice come into the club, but how realistic that is this summer, I'm not too sure. But on that principle, I did say I wouldn't mind seeing Chelsea going for De Jong if he's interested in leaving, providing that we're definitely going to get Declan Rice next summer. Because I think having them two in the midfield, right? Because I think De Jong can play more advanced and Declan Rice can play in that DM, and we can have a Kovacic or whoever you want, Mason Mount or whoever you want to put there to play next to them. I think that would be brilliant. If not De Jong,
you play a diamond. You could play Declan Rice, Kovacic, De Jong, and Mason Mount on the tip of a diamond or something like that. That would be pretty much.
There you go. Yeah. There you go. If not De Jong because of the price, I would be looking at that Mateus Nunes over there in Sporting. Again, another player that I think is very, very good, underrated as well. For 40 M's, whoever gets him, that's going to be an absolute steal. That one. And just quickly before we go, in terms of the attacking positions, down that middle, I haven't decided. I haven't thought about who can go down there. My ideal man would have been Lewandowski, but we know where he's gone to.
Yeah, he didn't want to cut. He didn't. I don't say he's scared of the Prem, because that sounds like, he's Ballon d'Or contender with Benzema, but he understandably was like, don't know if I fancy this. Like, I'm 33. Yeah, I'm 33, and maybe in a couple of years, even though he's in the form of his life, he's like, I'd rather just keep breaking records, and you know what I mean. I think he's probably like looked at Lukaku. He's always been very wary of the Prem. So when Barca fans are trying to banter us like, yeah, we've got Lewandowski off you, we never had a chance for Lewandowski.
No, we didn't. Exactly, and I knew that from the beginning as well, because he's been saying since January that he wanted to go to Barca. So
yeah, he used to say Real Madrid as well. He's basically always wanted to go to one of the the big Spanish clubs.
But Benzi being there, obviously, he can't be there.
Yeah,
with
Classico, man, suddenly exciting again, isn't it?
Yeah, it
now,
is.
Benzema's exploded, and Lewandowski's over at Barca.
Lewandowski, Rafinha scoring screamers the way he did yesterday. It's gonna be interesting. Pedri coming up, Gavi coming up as well. It's gonna be good again,
Hazard remontada.
Yeah, there you go, exactly. And then one more on that right side. Again now, Gnabry has signed his contract with Bayern Munich, but the profile that I want on that right side is another goal scoring winger. Or possibly, or maybe not even that, but somebody who's in fact, let me rephrase that. Somebody on that right side who can get goals but can also create as well.
Yeah, well, that's what they wanted Usman for. Although Usman didn't really score, he was just a creator.
Yeah, he was a beast towards the second half of that season.
What we do is we need a player that will get goals out of the midfielders. But then again, that's a systemic thing. If you've got a Conor Gallagher, if you've got Mason Mount, you've got to squeeze the odd goal out of Kovacic. Kante can bang a goal. This is how you score on the Prem. You have wingers, you got cutbacks, you got your people running onto balls and stuff, and obviously the wing backs as well. So you need just people that know to find players and see that. And that's another reason why I love Ziyech, because he saw the ball that no one else saw, but clearly it's not going to work. But yeah, I know what you mean. Someone is going to just break the mold. But even if it's not in the same Hazard way of just give it to me and I'm like main character, dribble for everyone. But it's like, right, well, the thing is, right, I know we're about to finish up, but the thing is, when you get in a collective psychology in a game, when you're not scoring, and you just, when you're in the stadium or you're watching, you just know what's happening. You're feeling it play out. It's almost like the fucking Donnie Darko when you see your timeline in front of you. I know it's a bit of a weird reference, but we all feel it. But it's someone that Pierce stops the Matrix, and they're like, no, I'm going to kick the ball over here. You will expect me to do this, and something different happens, and the game shifts. And that's what I mean by magic. I know that's not like a scientific, methodical, analytical thing, but football isn't always like that. It's literally someone breaking the collective psychological mold and being like, no, this is going to happen now. And Diego Costa used to do that as a striker. The game was being stinked out. He'd be like, out of sheer like, just like a defiance, out of sheer defiance, he'd be like, bollocks to this. Even if it was a scuffed finish in the corner, and it went against the game, went against the narrative. And whether it's a goal scorer going against the narrative, whether it's a creator, Hazard dribbler, whether it's a deep line playmaker like Cesc Fabregas when he was a bit deeper, someone's just going to say bollocks to this. I'm going to break the mold, and we don't have that.
If I could, I would regen Diego Costa every single season. Because just, the way you described it, I always remember one goal that he scored. And I think it was against West Brom, where we was just stinking the place out. And I can't remember who it was on that right side.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah,
he pressed him. And he just said, fuck this. I'm doing this on my own. Goes into that box and just slaps it in. And I was like, oh, man.
That was him personified, wasn't it?
Personified. That was Diego Costa in a nutshell, as well as, some of the funny and controversial moments that he had. I really missed that, man. But, Yan, listen, I'm not trying to keep you for too long. I would keep you here for even longer than this, but I do want to respect your time.
I'm sweating my nuts off as well, but I got
And I'm very, very grateful for you coming on. I would definitely love to have you back on the channel again sometime. I thought it was a good conversation that we had. People, I've made it easy for you. First of all, if you don't know about the football therapy, I don't know what world you're living in. If you don't know about it, all of the details are down there in the description, and I've done all the homework I've done all the work for you, clickable links. So all you have to do is hit description, hit the profile. It will take you straight to subscribe to his channel, straight to his Twitter, straight to his Instagram as well. Same with mine as well. So make sure you do that for us. And also, before you leave this place, make sure you smash that like button. I think we crossed 900 live viewers, so we should be getting, 500 should be the bare minimum of likes.
Let's go.
That should be the bare minimum of likes. But it is what it is, man. But people, thank you very much yet again. Yan, thank you very much yet again. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, two things. Make sure you stay